money, your taxes, your truck, and your road to success in the trucking industry.
This is Trucking Business and Beyond, the show that puts the money where it belongs.
Back in your pocket.
Good morning, you beautiful bunch of fuckers, and welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Monday, April 22nd. We are here live. It is a free-for-all today. Phone lines are open, so jump in and join me. That number, 855-950-3835, or you can hit that call now button on your app. That will get you in here as well. Jump in and join me. I don't have a whole lot today. I was counting on Brent to join me this morning, and I had plenty to talk to Brent about. I had a whole bunch of questions for him about what's going on with the market right now. Brent had a family emergency and will not be able to join us. So I've got a couple things, but go ahead and line up your calls. We will get to them right away today. It is a free-for-all. Anything goes. We can talk about trucks, money, fuel mileage, maintenance, tires, taxes, technology, health and fitness on the road, getting started as an owner-operator, finding freight, working with brokers, getting your authority, you name it. We'll talk about it. All you have to do is jump in here and join us. So I wanted to talk to Brent today because, my audio is not coming through somewhere. Let me check and figure out why not. Looks like it should be. It's coming through on the app. I think Morgan's going to try to reconnect. Maybe it's on her end. We will see. I know you're hearing me on the app, so I will keep talking until we figure out the phones. Where was I? What I was going to cover today, I was hoping to talk to Brent. For the most part, the rates have been holding up. I talked about the fact that if you look at charts, well, even going back 2015, 16, 17, and then when we got to 20 and COVID, everything kind of went goofy. But if you take those years out of the charts, and then you skip ahead to 23 and now 24, the numbers look pretty normal. Like it was just during those couple of years that they got way out of whack. And now we're kind of back to normal. I talked about the analyst at the TIA conference saying we're not in a trucking recession. We're fairly normal as far as rates and volume go. We do still have too much capacity. There's just too many trucks, too many brokers, too many drivers, not enough freight to go round, but the rates have held up pretty well. The other big challenge in this environment is inflation, and it does not seem to be slowing down. In fact, it seems to be getting worse. I'm just watching the phone system here to see what's going on. That problem seems to be getting worse. What I'm really starting to see now, though, the reason I was hoping Brent may have some updates for us, next week may be better anyway. We may be a little too close to it. But I've been seeing more bad news about the economy, but even more so in trucking. So I saw several posts last week about a lot of layoffs in trucking, a lot of brokerages laying off, a lot of trucking companies going out of business, brokerages going out of business. Those numbers seem to be accelerating. So I'd like to kind of get a handle on that. We'll see what Brent has for us next week. The other thing we have to remember is trucking is a leading economic indicator. What that means is what we see happen in trucking is probably going to continue on into the rest of the economy before long. So that's kind of why I'm really paying attention to what's going on with trucking right now. And like I said, this is recent. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, everything looked pretty normal. Wasn't great, but it feels like it could get significantly worse now. And that's really kind of what I'm paying attention to. So I've compared this economy to the 70s and early 80s a lot because there are a lot of similarities. We had kind of a strange run-up. You could look at a lot of things. Why did we have the economy we had in the 60s and 70s and then into the early 80s? We've kind of had some of those same factors happening where it's really difficult to understand what's going on in the economy. Now, in the 70s and into the early 80s, we had something called stagflation. I've been talking about it a lot. And it's a really odd occurrence in the economy because typically inflation would indicate that we have a growing economy or an economy that's heating up or getting hot. And as that happens, there's more and more demand for things, so prices go up. And that's how this one started. If you remember, our inflation really started primarily because of the COVID spending. So when the government just started handing out money to individuals, the unemployment checks went up. They got the bonus unemployment for over a year. Remember, people didn't have to pay their rent. That went on for over a year. And then they started giving out stimulus checks. Then they started giving out money to businesses, whether it was the grants or the loans. And the economy took off and inflation started. Now, that makes total sense. That's what should happen. You've got a lot of money, and it was artificially inserted into the economy, and then we started having shortages. So if you remember, people were buying a lot of stuff because they were stuck at home, and then we couldn't get all of our stuff. We had containers sitting out in the ocean. We had supply chain issues. That drives inflation. It drives prices up. But we would have expected that to reverse itself now that all that money isn't in the economy anymore, except it's not. Inflation continues, and I didn't understand why we had inflation in the 70s. I don't really understand why we have it now. I don't understand what causes stagflation, but it looks like that's what's happening. But I noticed one really big difference this time. I'm not sure what's going on with our phone system. Our call screener can't get in, and we're losing some calls. We had calls up there, now they're gone. I'll keep an eye on it while they're working on that. Seems like everything's working good on my end. So I have noticed one big difference, and I just realized that this morning, and it is a significant difference. So I've talked about this when I was in high school, all through high school, and then shortly after high school, getting a job was a big deal. It was not easy to get a job. It's almost hard to explain to people what it was like. But what I remember, and I grew up in Northeast Ohio, so in the 70s, we were kind of going through the fact that the steel mills were closing down. They were going, many were going to Japan. We were losing a lot of factory work, which was a big part of that part of the country, a lot of factory work. And getting a job was a difficult thing People talked about it a lot, or people talked about waiting at the unemployment office because you had to go down to unemployment and prove to them that you were trying to get a job. I don't hear that anymore. I can't remember the last time I heard somebody say, I can't get a job. All right, so it looks like we may be having some sort of a phone issue. I think what I'm going to do is try to restart our phone system. Looks like the call screeners are having a hard time and the calls keep dropping. So I'm going to restart this. I will be back in 2 minutes.
Ready to connect. Click Connect to show now. Connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-in Studio web interface. Audio recording is on.
All right, we are back. If you were trying to dial in, I know we had quite a few calls trying to come through. Go ahead and redial. I will see if this is working any better. Like I say, it was working, seemed to be working good for me, but our call screener couldn't get in. So I am not sure. Let's see what we've got going on now. Any better? Can anybody hear me on the phone system yet? Let me, looks like calls are coming in. Looks like our call screener is in there. We'll give that a couple minutes and see if that is working now. So going back to that time, getting a job was a really difficult thing. And I'm not talking about like a career kind of job. I'm just talking about basic, you need a job, you need a paycheck. And it was difficult to find any kind of work. Like I say, factory work was one of the more common things there, but that was getting harder and harder to find. Minimum wage jobs, you might go out and put in 10 applications in a day, and you had to drive around every place in person, and you still may not get a job. I am not sure what's going on with the phone system. Now I see people logged in multiple times. I'm going to try something here. I'm just going to try to grab a call out of the queue that has not been... oh, no, I can't. The calls keep terminating. Well, this isn't good. Seems like everything's working on my end, but it seems like our phone system is down. We'll give it a minute here. Yeah, I see the call screener just keeps trying to get in and they keep getting kicked out. The calls keep getting kicked out. Everything is good on my end. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can actually... You know what? I'm gonna stop the stream while we work on the phone system. We will be right back, I hope.